Well, can everybody hear me now? I do not know what happened to the last live. That was not fun. It kept telling me that something was going on, and yeah, I couldn't fix it. Definitely couldn't fix it, which really sucks because that was a great live. We had lots of people come in, but yeah, sorry about that, guys. I lost being able to talk. I lost being able to hear anything. I've heard two or three other creators talk about having a problem with StreamYard lately. So something happened. And I'll fix the thing and do like a part two or whatever. Um,
Yeah, so weird.
yeah, give me a minute here so I can pull up what I wanted to throw up. We're going to talk about Sarah's ex and throw
Now,
up
do you know
Brandon.
anything about their trip to Texas in like around, I guess, a couple months after Michael?
Sorry. I throw it up and it instantly starts. So again, apologies everybody. I hope we get everybody back. Let's just wait, maybe talk for a few minutes, see if we can get like everybody back in the the live show.
Does
But
not
yeah,
like this clip
everybody.
of Brandon.
No one wants to see a clip of Brandon or Stacey or nothing anymore. We're tired of it. And the TikToks. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I stopped being able to hear you, stopped being able to talk. Something kept popping up that my headphones weren't doing something. Like it was just absolutely horrible. And of course, because we're so new to doing lives and stuff, I'm over here. Hello, can you hear me, Kelia? Can you hear me? And I don't hear nothing back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Brandon,
I thought it was me. I thought my thing froze. So glad it was everybody and it was just StreamYard all
no.
around.
Oh yeah, StreamYard all around's been messing up on everybody's lives. It's been going on for I want to say like the last 4 or 5 days. Um yeah, I don't think anybody got kicked off as bad as we just got kicked off. That kind of sucks because like I said, we had a lot of people in here watching and stuff and that's awesome because I've never seen our numbers so high in our lives. So, I was
That's cool.
actually yeah, that was really cool. Um
Thanks for
but
finding your way back here, everyone. Thank you. We appreciate it.
yes, thank you. Opal says Brandon and Stacey both have no interview etiquette. No, they don't. I mean, all you do is see Brandon chug a lug a lugging and not making any sense at all when he's doing his, and then you have, Stacey farting, burping, chewing, spitting, gagging. It's yuck, horrible. Let's watch this clip with Brandon. We'll pause in between to talk about things. Share Bear, hello. We just had some difficulties. Glad you're here.
Now, do you know anything about their trip to Texas in like around, I guess, a couple months after Michael Vaughan went missing? They went to Texas.
No, sir. I know nothing about that recent. Now, I do recall them saying something about that previously where Sarah lived in Texas with another man.
Okay.
Now, I don't know nothing about that, but I know it was kind of like not a good deal.
So it's my belief that Sarah was once married prior to Stacey. I believe it was to a last name of a guy named Chambers.
Yep, that might be him.
Ricky Chambers, I believe.
Yep, I think that sounds right.
So he does have ties to Texas and Arkansas and Oregon. So maybe that's why she was there. I don't know. Did she ever talk about her ex-husband?
She talked about him a couple times about like how she wanted to get out of there, and then he got mad one time and kind of locked her in a room, and they were fighting way back in the day before I knew her. That's all I heard about it.
It just says
yeah, so that's him talking about it, and he acts like he's really super nervous when JLR mentions the trip to Texas in the beginning of that clip. He seemed to have been like a little caught off guard, but yeah, talking about Sarah's ex-husband, Wolf Chambers is what he goes by on YouTube, and in this clip we're about to show you from the lab, where Josh throws him up on panel, and they talk about Sarah and how she's like and what she was like to be married to and all that stuff. Yeah, so we'll just continue with that. And I don't know if you're being quiet on purpose, Kalia, but you're muted. She's always muting herself.
My husband plays video games, and honestly, he's just playing this new game called Pal World. But ever so often, you might hear a raid or a battle, so I just keep it muted.
Opal says, allegedly, I found Brandon's dad address and made sure Ellie had it after the press release. I'm in North Dakota. And then Susie says, yikes, Stacey does it all. Yuck. Yes, he does. He's disgusting. Opal says his dad lives about 2 miles from our family lake cabin. Stacey's what? Too much? Phlegms. That's what it is. Phlegms too much. Yes, absolutely. It's gross. So yeah, we're going into, so thanks to the lab for this clip, for having him on, and for having great questions, Josh. You did an amazing job in this interview. Hope you don't mind that I'm using it.
Hold on one sec. Hold on. I can't hear you yet, but I need. Do you want to find the stop cam button and okay, there you go. All right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Find the stop cam button.
All right, turn off your device in the background.
Hear you. Oh, you need to turn that down. You can hear
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, we're playing you on the television as well.
Oh, it's all good. You're keeping up with this case. Have you talked to anybody yet? Like, have you been
Yes,
interviewed?
sir. Yes, no, I have not been interviewed. I was spoken to. I can't remember the detective's name, but she spoke with me and told me about a 6-year-old boy that went missing, and she told me his name was Michael Vaughan, and I didn't know anything about it. What she called me for was simply to get information about Sarah.
Okay. And I don't want you to say anything that could be detrimental to the case or anything like that, but were you able to provide them with anything?
Yes, sir.
So let me just.
So here you have Sarah's ex. He's been contacted by law enforcement and has spoken to them about Sarah. And without having any knowledge of Michael Vaughan missing, or anything like that. And he's just, it looks like since he found out about it all, that he's in these channels, in the comment sections and stuff, because he's, wondering what's going on now.
Yeah, right. Keeping up with the updates. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah. I was married to her. What?
Yeah. Right. And then the things he says that she said, like adding that all together, I can only imagine what he's thinking if he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Just ask you, can I ask you about Sarah a little bit?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you coming up here, and so does everybody that's watching here.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a little bit about, so you don't know Stacey, but how long were you married to Sarah?
Briefly, it was like 6 months.
Okay. 6 months. And where are you from? Idaho as well?
No, sir. I was married to her when I lived in Texas.
Okay. Because there was talk of her going to Texas.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So ultimately 6 months. How long were you guys together before that?
On and off, we knew each other for about 2 years.
Okay. And then you got married, and obviously no kids. I'm
No,
assuming
sir.
you didn't get your nuts crushed by a bull.
No, I actually have a son.
Yeah, didn't get your nuts crushed like a bull, because Brandon says that Stacey Wondra's nuts got crushed by a bull, and that's why he can't have kids. So apparently, Wolf Chambers and Sarah only knew each other for a couple of years, and you can tell by his reaction when it came to kids. Nope, he wasn't ready to have any kids with Sarah.
And a daughter, so my nuts are just fine.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So
Thank you, sir.
I mean, if you don't mind, what ultimately led to the divorce?
Well, she had a meltdown about me not being able to give her any children because I wasn't trying to. And basically, she had me incarcerated under false accusations. And so I basically told her, I want you gone. I want a divorce. And inevitably, that's what happened.
So here again, we have Sarah Wondra having a meltdown about not being able to have children. He doesn't want to have children with her. And, the breakdown seems to be so severe that he's done. He's done, and he goes on to talk more about breakdowns and stuff. But it looks like at this point, he's just done dealing with the breakdowns, dealing with her emotionally.
And is that something you guys fought about a lot?
Well, our marriage was only 6 months, but no, sir, it wasn't a lot of fighting.
Yeah. So what she wanted you to give her a kid. Same thing that you heard. And what is it? She just wanted to be a mother. I mean, was that it?
She had a daughter when she was 17 years old. The story she told me, I cannot confirm this to be true. I can only say what she told me. She said Ed and Kay Ramsey made her give her child up for divorce because they were not going to take care of her and her daughter.
Oh, you mean for adoption?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can't confirm, but what she told you is that at one time she did have a child.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But and you can't confirm that. And so let's just make that clear. And that she was forced to give up the daughter for adoption. Her parents made her do that?
Yes, sir. Her adoptive parents.
Okay. And do you know how old she was when that allegedly happened?
17.
So yeah, he's saying that she was forced to give a baby up for adoption, and I have talked about this before. Actually, I was just talking about this with my daughter and my son-in-law. They were actually talking about Britney Spears, but a woman has a choice, to have an abortion or to give up their child for adoption. And I don't think I don't think a woman can, I think they can be pressured, but I don't think that they can be forced. It ultimately comes down to the woman making the decision. So,
Right.
having a child, putting her or him up for adoption or whatever, maybe that was a traumatic thing for her that she went through. And that's why she, was always talking about wanting more kids.
Yeah, I can imagine that was difficult. Yeah, and she definitely could have had parents that were harping on her and pressuring her one way or the other, but also we hear a lot of people who, take that opportunity and run from their parents and never look back. Or once the child is here, it totally flips the switch and the people that were pressuring so hard end up, totally embracing that new addition to the family after all. So it didn't have to be that way. So I
Right.
do
I
agree
mean,
with you.
she's 17 years old. She's almost
Right.
18. She could have done what she wanted to do.
At that time, it wasn't like it was like in the 50s or 60s. By that point, it was
Right.
like 2003. She was born in 1987. So maybe not. How old that would have been? That my math's a little off.
But we get the point. We get the drift.
Yes, it was not. Yeah, it was totally more acceptable. And yeah, she would have been able to survive as a teenage mom at that age. It was a lot more normal.
Yeah, and Opal says she was pregnant when she was 17 and kept her child against her parents' wishes and no regrets. I'm right there with you, Opal.
Right.
I got pregnant when I was 15 years old and had my daughter when I was 16. My grandma, my parents, they all talked to me about all options. And, I had my daughter. I didn't even give it a second thought. I was having her. That's what I wanted to do. And I was supported. But, I had my child early. But I think with my family, it's just a little bit different. I would have just been supported one way or another with any decision I would have made. My family would have been there for me, whether it was, abortion or adoption or whatever.
Okay. Was she very religious?
No, absolutely not.
So here, I knew this is why I wanted to put this clip on, because now we're going to be contradicting. We're talking about her being 14 years old, locked up in her room, reading Revelations, she said in the TikTok video. And here she's married to a man and he's saying no. Like it's a very matter of fact, absolutely not. She was not religious.
Wow. Yeah, he was like super, super sure. Nope,
Yeah.
She was not.
Yeah. And I mean, this guy, throughout the interview, you guys are going to see he's the real deal. He's genuine. The way him and Josh talk, he's very respectful. He's nice. I believe what this guy is saying. In my opinion, this guy's telling the truth about Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of new. Okay, I got you. That's
yes, sir. Very new.
Okay. You think she's capable of what she's been accused of?
It's funny you asked me that, because the detective did ask me what I thought about it. And I said, when it comes to kidnapping, yes, she is capable of it. I don't know if she's capable of murder. I can't say that she is.
She ever talk about kidnapping?
Yes.
With you,
that's one of the things that led to me saying, "C'est la vie."
So she wanted.
So, kidnapping. She was I have to hear that part again. Let's just go back a tiny, tiny bit.
And do you know how old she was when that allegedly happened?
17.
Okay. Was she very religious?
No, absolutely not.
So that was kind of new. Okay, I got you. That's
yes, sir. Very new.
Okay. You think she's capable of what she's been accused of?
It's funny you asked me that, because the detective did ask me what I thought about it. And I said, when it comes to kidnapping, yes, she is capable of it. I don't know if she's capable of murder. I can't say that she is.
She ever talk about kidnapping?
Yes.
With you?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, nervous laughter.
Yeah. I was just going to say nervous laughter too. That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crime Sleuthen said she emailed you, by the way.
I just read it, Crime Sleuthen. Got your message. Got you, girl. Just sent you a message back. That's why I was kind of like on the thing having to play that back. But yeah, he says yes with the nervous laugh. And then listen.
That's one of the things that led to me saying, "C'est la vie."
That's one of the things that led me to say, "C'est la vie." Like one of the things that made me say, I am friggin' out of here. Because she's talking about kidnapping. Ugh.
Right. It is, I guess it kind of reminds me of like Kyron Harmon case, Terry's ex-boyfriend who had a run-in with her years and years ago, and like these early red flags, but they weren't actually, like, nothing actually happened. So really nothing could be done back then.
Right.
But it led to something happening. And when you look back, there were red flags, and there were glimpses of this happening, and that's what's sad. To me, he nervously laughed, because I mean, that's something that like he'll have to live with knowing forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's heavy to know. Like, yeah, she did talk about kidnapping people or kidnapping kids. Like, that's crazy.
Well, he does go on to say that she doesn't talk about kidnapping kids necessarily, but just kidnapping itself. Let's keep going.
So she wanted to kidnap a kid.
No. She just talked about kidnapping in general, never anything about children.
Yeah, so there it is. Like he says nothing about just kidnapping in general, but that's still strange that she
Yeah.
is talking about it and that she ends up doing it with other men.
Right.
You know, that now she's involved with kidnapping a child. And yeah, this blew my mind. I was there for this live. I was live with this, watching this, and I'm just like mouth drop, mind blown. What the
That
hell?
is crazy. I mean, that is huge. That's huge. If he's being honest right there, I mean, like, and I have no reason to believe why he wouldn't, but I also don't know the person.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, just off a quick judge of how he replied, it didn't come off as untruthful, and it's super eerie. It just goes along with the other things that we were listening to her describe her super religious beliefs as being blood splatter. You know?
You can guarantee if he told law enforcement what he's telling Josh
Yes.
on the lab, he's going to court to testify that this was a thing back in the day. So I mean,
he might get called to testify to the grand jury. Who knows? You know?
yeah, you never know.
Right now,
that's a good point. Could get called in for that too.
Wow. And what would she say?
Oh, well, she would talk about mainly just, you know, how it would be interesting to have someone to go into some stranger's house and basically take control of them, you know, be able to tie them up. And I told her, I said, you need to seek professional help. That's not normal.
Did he just say tie them up?
yeah, like take control of them, tie them up, and take control of them.
So, wonder what it's like to kidnap a person and, you know, tie them up and have that kind of control over a person. What would that be like? Anybody here ever thought about kidnapping a person, tying them up, and, you know, just want to know how that would be? I mean, what?
No. Yeah, and I know we're all true crime sleuths.
Yeah.
And people, but no, I've never heard anybody talk to me about that. Like as a hypothetical. No.
And on top of that, crime sleuthing or sleuths that are here right now. I mean, how many times have you heard a story, read a story, or watched about a story where 1 or 2 to 3 people kidnap, tie up, murder, and whatever? Sometimes one person, 2 people, like a couple, or an entire family. Like, there are people out there that have done that, and there are a lot of them. So, is Sarah like one of those people that's just always thought about doing exactly that? And like, wow.
Right. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, trauma and childhood trauma leads to things like that, and dark thoughts and intrusive thoughts like that. And sometimes they get acted on. And so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past somebody if we're going to sit here and say she has childhood trauma and maybe that's why she talks childlike. Same thing. Maybe her trauma leads her to have really dark thoughts that lead her to think about hurting people. We don't know, but this person is over here saying that she talked to him, arguably the closest person to her at that point, her husband. She's confiding in him a very dark thought she's thought about, like, yeah. I mean,
like Opal saying, that is not a normal thought process.
No.
It is not.
No.
It's not.
It isn't.
Wow. I mean, that is, yeah, you're right. That's not normal. And you just must have, I mean, were you just shocked by that?
I was scared by that.
That is the one. I mean, did you hear how he says scared? I was scared by that. Not anything else, but I was scared by that. One of the reasons why he
Right.
leaves Sarah Wondra is because she's talking about kidnapping, tying people up. I mean, and what would be the end of that? So she's talking about kidnapping people in general, tying them up, having control. Where does her thought process go after that? Is she talking about, okay, we've done this, let's go now?
Yeah.
Does she
Right.
want, what does she want to continue on doing? Does she want to murder these people? Does she want to, cause bodily harm to these people?
Right.
Like, what kind of game is she playing here? Yeah, where's she going from that? That's what I would love to know. And he does not talk about it in the interview. But I scared. He says scared.
And was this towards the end of your marriage?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that she would cover up an accident? Like say something went wrong and when they were kidnapping Michael, and say it wasn't intentional homicide or whatever, say it wasn't that. Could you see her covering that up?
Yes, sir.
She ever abused?
So he can actually see her covering something up. Something like that up. Have you had a chance to see this at all, Kalia?
I watched the first half, but no, I logged off before I saw any comments or anything from this. So no, I didn't watch this part. But yeah, I could see it this way too. I mean, I've definitely theorized it as being an accident of some sort, and everybody was just afraid. But the thing I can't get past is that Sarah has confirmed to police that she knows Michael is not alive anymore, from one way or the other, whatever reason. So I don't know. That means that hopefully she would tell them what happened.
Mhm.
So if it was an accident, why not just say it? That's the easiest thing. But I don't know if she did, I don't know. It's just so hard.
And then Opal says, I believe that was genuine fear on his
I
part.
do.
And
I
do
agree.
too.
Yeah.
When the way he says that, you can tell. And I mean, especially knowing what he knows now, like, holy
Yeah.
moly, like, he's definitely scared now. Could you even imagine? She seeks control, and Stacey claims intermittent explosive disorder. Those sound like water and oil together, is what Opal says. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Abusive towards you?
Yes, sir.
So, because I've heard reports that she would hit Stacey with like pots and pans and things like that.
I've been beaten by that woman before.
Wow.
And I mean, I don't want to seem agitated or anything, but I'd rather not talk about it. It's just not something I want to relive.
I don't blame you. Not a problem at all. You don't want to answer a question. You don't want to talk about something. That's totally fair. I appreciate you coming up and even talking. So
he's been abused by her. And we know that Stacey says he's been hit with pots and pans, that she held a shot, GUN, up to his head that was loaded. That, she's gotten on top of him and beat the crap out of him. She's a very violent person. She's very, very violent. And she's a person who thinks about kidnapping and tying up people. Hello. Whoa.
And she held a gun up to somebody's head.
Yeah.
And like she oh, sorry. I'm getting used to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, she obviously, like we talked about, is that unstable, and that's what I mean by when I mentioned that guy who came into my Wells Fargo branch, who, excuse me, wrote on himself. It's the same vibes I get from Sarah, just unstable and like you don't want to set her off. She's scary. You don't know what she'll do to you. She held a gun up to some random person's head. Not random, but like it's not like it wasn't her husband. It was a friend. So that's just strange.
Yeah, she's very violent. Violent. Very, very violent. And for whatever reason, violent with GUNs too.
So Sarah was talking about kidnapping with you, had talked about kidnapping, and you were just totally thrown off by the whole thing.
Yes, sir.
And you wanted it, and you initiated the divorce.
Yes, sir, I did.
Was it not that it matters, but was it an annulment or a divorce?
It was a divorce.
And how did she take the news when you wanted to divorce?
A meltdown, of course. As a matter of fact, I was incarcerated at the time that I told her about it, and the deputies had to escort her out of the building because she was causing a disturbance.
So she has the guts to cause an episode at a police station. Like, that's kind of huge too. Like, that's not having any respect for law enforcement or being, near law enforcement,
Right.
and then acting crazy and out of control and emotional or whatever she's doing, crying, screaming, whatever the hell it is. But it was obviously enough where law enforcement thought that they had to, take control of the situation.
In the jail?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so she has a temper.
Absolutely.
But she never talked about God with you or anything like that?
No, sir. I'm not really what you would call religious. I do believe
Sure.
in God, but I'm just not a Bible thumper.
Right. And so was it news to you when you found out that she was at now?
Yes, it actually was. It was a huge shock.
See, and he almost laughs about it right there, just hearing that she's, some kind of like what he calls Bible thumping or whatever. And, people say that, and I don't want to offend anybody. Like I've said before, I was raised Christian and I believe in God, but this is just a topic in a missing child's case. So we need to talk about it,
And if it's such a huge change of who she was, I mean, she was a 3-time felon or more, so yeah, obviously he's like taken back when he hears what now she's some super religious quote unquote Bible thumper. Yeah, that makes him feel like it's fake or what the heck happened, because that's not who I was married to.
Yeah, Opal says Sarah holds a pew pew to a guy's head on her anniversary because, according to Stacey, the guy offended or offered to cook. That's far beyond unstable. What
Wow.
facts are missing? Wow. Yeah, I remember that now inside the
Very unstable.
the interview. Thank you for reminding me. Crime sleuthing Opal, my gut's telling me the guy wanted to grill and she didn't want him to find anything out there. That's just my gut talking. Well, that's a good point to bring up, actually. Opal, crime. I've thought that exact same thing. There's something to how detailed Stacey got about the grill and the ground below it. I am missing a clip from somewhere, or I didn't see that clip. And now y'all are gonna have me watching him again to find it. Are you serious? I do not want to do that. I don't want to listen to all of that grossness. Hello. No, I don't. But
I know.
you know what? I'm probably going to. I do remember him mentioning the grill a couple times, but not as in much detail as you guys are making it sound like he did. So, yeah, what's up with the grill, girls? Just give it to me now so I don't have to go listen.
Yeah, spare me.
That gross dude. Ugh, gross.
Were you surprised at all when you heard that she was a suspect in this case?
I really was. I wasn't expecting anything like that to spill on my doorstep because, I had just, the time the detective had contacted me, I had just found out that I was going to be a father with my firstborn, my son.
Oh, okay. All right. Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay. So you had just found out that you were going to be a father. Was she ever around any of your children?
No, sir. It's been over 12 years since I've known her.
So even 12 years ago, she had mentioned kidnapping. Was it more than
Yes.
once?
Yes, sir. It was on numerous occasions. That's why I said, I need to get away from this woman.
It wasn't just once that she talked about it. It was numerous occasions that made him think, I've got to get away from this woman. She
Scary.
scared me.
Yeah.
It scared him. He left his wife because of that, emotional breakdowns. You're like, what?
Seriously.
Numerous times, many times, multiple times, however you want to say it, she talked about kidnapping and tying people up. I just would really like to know what else was she going to do after the fact? I mean, in these, these wild, I don't know. I'm having a brain fart. Just thoughts and,
what was her plan?
fantasies. Fantasies is the word I was looking for. But yeah. I've struggled through far too many hours of nasty phlegm coughing, Stacey.
Seriously.
I spent 35 hours throwing together a bunch of clips for one of our lives, and I never want to do that with him again. He talks about the grass being dead under the grill and having 2 grills. Yes, I remember that. He did talk about the grass being dead under the grill. Ooh, you girls are good. I like this. I like when you can find things in a thing. And I mean, I really do think that there were truth into some of the stuff that Stacey said. The details weren't asked for and were strange. And Crime Sleuthen says, exactly.
Good Lord. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Did she ever try to get you to do anything like that with her?
No, sir.
Yeah. Not that you would have went along with it anyway, but a lot of people's theory is that she was the ringleader of what was going on, and that people kind of were just going along with what she did.
I can see that. I honestly can, because she always had to be in control of the situation when it comes to anything.
Yeah. But she never specifically mentioned kidnapping a child.
No, it was never a child. It was just like I said, she's a control freak. So, I guess she would let it slip, or maybe that's just something she gets off on, but she would always bring up kidnapping a person and having control over them. She has to be in control.
And that's what you dealt.
She has to be in control. So when you're hearing this now, how do you feel about the TikToks? Is she controlling this narrative of being crazy? Right. Is the question.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good, very fair question to ask. We question Stacey's motive of why he's coming out and doing these interviews. I think it's totally fair to ask the same thing. What's the motive behind these random weird TikToks that are religious when this guy says she was never religious?
Right. And that's why I am so on the fence, was just after watching him talk, after looking at the TikToks and just going, what? Because we all do understand that if something horrific happened in front of her, or if she did do something horrific, she very well, really could lose her mind and be pushed over the edge.
Yeah.
That is a possible thing that could have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm just like, wow, was that what this whole October, whatever is just her
like mental breakdown?
Absolutely. So
I'm on the fence. I know that she seems like an unstable person. I wouldn't want to piss her off. I wouldn't want to be a close friend of hers or anything like that. She just seems too hot all the time and gets hot real easy, and yeah, I'm on the fence.
Yep. Me too. And then her husband makes you even more so on the fence of it.
Yeah.
And then even starting to lean a little bit more towards like, was she really crazy?
With as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And a temper when things didn't go her way.
Yes, sir.
Was she a hard worker? I mean, was she a neat freak? What was she? What was she like in the house?
No
Was
job.
she respectful of people?
And sat on her butt. No, sir. She had no respect for anyone.
So she was rude to people in your presence.
Yes, sir.
Did she ever meet your parents?
She met my mother. My father is just passed. So I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that. What did your mother?
So here, she's lazy. Doesn't, she's not working. She's just sitting around the house, sitting on her butt, according to him. So again, we've heard Stacey talk about her being lazy, wanting to eat, not taking care of herself and stuff. So it's, almost kind of confirming some of the things that Stacey has said.
Yeah.
Think of her.
She did not like her one bit. She said that I made a mistake. And I agree with my mother. I did make a mistake.
Yeah. Who hasn't made a mistake before? I mean, I am glad that you got away from that situation, because it just sounds horrible. But so she didn't like, did she like your mother?
She pretended to, but then after she was not around my mother, she would disrespect her, which also upset me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So she would just say bad things about your mom, and she was just disrespectful, which is funny because I don't know if you saw, but I had a conversation with Stacey.
Yes, sir. I saw it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And, he's not, and then I had a conversation with him off the air. He's not exactly a loving, tender touch. Okay.
Right.
And it almost seems like they're kind of peas in a pod that way, but it still sounds like Sarah ran the show.
Yes, sir.
Now, and if you don't want to answer these questions, don't. Was there ever any infidelity on her part?
The only one that I'm aware of is once I was incarcerated. So we were still legally married. There was a guy at the gas station up the road from where we live that told me that they were in having intercourse with each other while I was incarcerated.
And you believed that to be true?
I can't say that it is or isn't. It's just mighty funny how, Stacey says he was messed around on. I was told that I was messed around on, so I'm just putting two and two together.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, she seems to have this, cheating thing. I mean, he's saying he can't say for sure whether or not that's what she was doing, but it sounds like he kind of thinks that she was.
Must be a trip for you, man.
It is.
Yeah. It's really weird. You never, you get a phone call one day from detectives and you're like, holy crap. Did you only talk to the detectives the one time?
Yes, sir. They only called me once.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he told them kind of, I mean, honestly, the kidnapping thing is just crazy for her to even bring that up. And that's what you said 12 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that she has, I mean, I'm sort of aware that she has a mental illness. Did you ever recognize if she did or not?
I did. Like I said, the meltdowns were not normal. I mean, people get upset all the time. You have your ups and downs, but I mean, when it's an extreme, that's that's a time to sit down and talk with someone and see about getting some professional help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's dealing with mental problems. It just really sounds like that she's been a very emotional person and a very kind of unstable going on a long time here. Because he kind of describes her mentally, kind of like Stacey does in some ways. Yeah, I really liked hearing this just because, um, you know, I don't know, just because it almost confirms with, Stacey and, of course, looking at her TikToks and everything else, we're seeing that, she's not stable.
Did she ever mention to you that she had been diagnosed with anything?
She said bipolar. That's all I remember.
And did she take medicine or anything for that?
No, sir.
No medicine. Okay. So she claims to be bipolar, and I don't know what her medical record is or not, and she very well could be. Probably. I mean, it sounds like there's some issues, and kind of the bipolar kind of does progress sort of the older you get, and if it's left untreated. So maybe these delusions of grandeur that she's having and the kidnapping stuff. I mean, that is extremely pertinent information.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, I'm just doing anything I can help. I just don't want to interfere in any way. And like I was trying to tell everyone in the comment section, I don't know Stacey, so I don't know how I can be of much help to the case. My only concern is Tyler and BRANDI getting their son back. That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
Well, look, man, I know BRANDI personally.
Yes, sir.
And she's a hurting mother who wants this solved. She wants people to be honest. And you just even coming up here and telling me, the limited, information that you have about Sarah, really does even paint her in a even more damning light, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't think anything that you said tonight is interfering. I would not personally want that. I would not want to interfere as well. So, and I respect that and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Wolf, will you email me? I will, in the chat, somebody will put the contact email, and I was wondering if I could just contact you and maybe ask you a couple other. I don't want to ask you in front of a bunch of people, right now.
Right, I understand, and that's not a problem at all.
Cool, man. And so, is there anything else that you want to say about? I know you don't know. I know you don't know Stacey. Lucky you, but but did you ever meet the adoptive parents of
No,
Sarah?
sir, I didn't. No, sir, I did not.
Do you know what kind of relationship she had with her family?
All I could tell you is what she told me, and she just wasn't happy around them, that they were mistreating her. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Right. So did she have a tendency to lie a lot?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff would she lie about? What kind of stuff? Just everything? I mean,
did she lie about? Yeah. Laugh. That's an understatement. Lots of people commenting in the comment section. Yeah, just going over, Josh giving an interview from the lab. It's crazy. NJ Robin, thank you for being here. The false allegation he is speaking about is an arrest for DV by him to her. She had broken his ribs, and when he was in custody, she left that state. Is from documents I saw. Good to see you ladies again. Wow. Wow. That you saw. Wow. That's just crazy. Broken ribs? I said Stacey off when one of my comments he was read by the creator regarding a pew pew on a live. The look in his eyes got scary as hell. I've seen that look in his eyes a couple of times before, and it's really crazy to see. I mean, he seems to be really unstable himself. NJ Robin says that Sarah was underage when she got pregnant. Well, he was saying that she was 17. Oh, but you're saying he must have been older than her, so that made her underage. I get it. Opal, I 100% feel Sarah has severe unhealed childhood trauma. And I totally agree with you, Opal. NJ Robin, Sarah seems to want control over others, maybe from her childhood, never being stable, and she had no control. Yeah, and then maybe that's reason why she's trying to seek so much control. Opal, I always remind myself that all stories have three sides: person first version, person second version, and the truth. Yep, absolutely. NJ Robin, on Sarah TikTok videos, she talks about her childhood and SA abuse very young. Yeah, we actually went over some TikTok videos. I didn't get into all of them. I started at the very beginning, like in October of 2021, just a couple months after, Michael was abducted. And yeah, I'm going to go back and probably watch several more because, you know, in just what I had found already, I was really kind of blown away by all of the information, that she's talking about, and this like guilty conscience that she seems to have. Um, and yeah, her guilty conscience is pretty bad.
And just what kind of
Everything. You could tell her the sky is blue, and she would say, no, it's purple. And you would show her scientific proof that it's blue, and she'll just sit there and lie through her teeth. No, it's purple. It's purple. It's purple. Really?
just combative.
Absolutely.
And for the people joining right now, we have on Wolf Chambers, Sarah Wondra's ex-husband from 12 years back. He has shared with us a couple of very interesting things. One of them being that she had mentioned kidnapping on many occasions to him, not a child, just kidnapping in general. And that he was contacted by Fruitland PD in the investigation. Wolf, let's talk soon. I appreciate you coming up here, man. And
yes, sir.
Hopefully we can get some justice for this young man, for Michael Vaughan. And, it sounds like Sarah's in the pokey for a while anyway.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. So she pulls I believe she hit somebody with a dog bone and then pulled a gun on him. That's quite the combination.
Yes, sir, it is.
But that doesn't surprise you that she'd pull a gun on somebody?
She held a knife to me, so no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
See, that's what I was waiting to hear at the end here. He says that she held a knife up to him. So, I mean, again, you've got lots of, violent tendencies here, wanting to cut people, shoot people. Wow, she's so violent. And then he really talks about her lying, like, the sky could be blue and she would swear up and down it's purple. And like, you wouldn't be able to convince her otherwise. Like, she is one of those people that can probably lie and believe her own lie.
Wow, how valuable that this guy was. I mean, I hope he was able to bring some valuable information to, for the Fruitland PD when they came and asked him, because that's just crazy and just really shows this woman has a real pattern in her behavior.
Yeah, it's really awful behavior. I mean, it's it's really sickening. I mean, wanting to kidnap people and tie them up and like have control over them, and then not
Right.
like, and then we don't know what else she is, thinking about doing. Like, what are you going to do after that? And then years later, she ends up being involved in a child abduction, and this child, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Huck says is deceased. And it's so difficult to talk about, but wow. I mean, and then like Susie here, all of these characters in this tragic case are creepy, and they really are. All
Yes,
of
they
them.
are.
Every
Every
single
one of
one,
them. Mm-hmm.
yeah, has something weird. Back when you look back at backgrounds and everything else, or law enforcement stuff, or being in jail, or getting in trouble, or being a felon, or being on drugs. I mean, or trafficking drugs, or POS, or no, RSO. Sorry, I don't know where well, they are a POS too, but I said that all wrong. Opal says, I can say I've never heard of something hitting another with a bone, a dog bone. I'm clearly sheltered.
I would think that
NJ,
would hurt pretty bad.
yeah, those dog bones are freaking hard.
Yeah, that would hurt pretty bad.
NJ Robin, Sarah told police that Andrea, I think Adrian, killed child, and Stacey helped bury child.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually saw part of that when she said that about Adrian. Yeah, that's crazy. It's just crazy, you know? And here you have 4 suspects, possibly a 5th or 6th. A 5th, because they talk about the Caesar guy, which is a RSO who is currently serving time in prison for being such. Hanging around them. I mean, the neighbors next door to them are also registered SOs. And it's, yeah, the people that they hang around with and the things that they do. And here you have these 4 people, possibly a 5th, like I was going to say, that all have some kind of knowledge or know where Michael is, and could, you know, tell the family where he is, bring them some peace, and let them move on from this tragic thing that has happened to them and their family. They have 3 other children. The youngest one being like Michael's best friend, Michael's playmate, and then
Yeah.
2 older children that are in their teens that completely 100% know exactly what it is that's happening here. They're old enough to know, to hear, to see what their mom goes through, to see what their dad goes through, to go through their own emotional turmoil. And then, kids at school. I mean, and they're cruel. Hopefully, they have really good friends and stuff. I'm not saying any of their friends have been cruel. I'm just saying kids are cruel, though. But they're getting text messages and stuff during the time that they're excavating the property at the Wandra's house when they're looking for Michael's body. So, I really feel for the teenage kids. Yes, I feel for everyone, but when it comes to the teenage kids, like I couldn't imagine being a teenager and something like this happening to one of my siblings.
I know, right? Oh my goodness. Talk about childhood trauma, that it's just one of those things, just like it would be so hard because you feel like where do you take time to mourn for yourself when you're kind of like a parent, where a parent's trying to remain strong. Well, same with a teenage family member. When this happens, a teenage kid, they're trying to hold it together to be one less thing the parent have to worry about, and that's just really hard.
Yeah, it's so god awful. And and I see the teenage girl her and Brandy support each other so much. It's absolutely beautiful to see. You'll see her pop up in their lives every now and then, being there for her mom, taking care of the youngest little girl, so her mom can like do the live and stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually very touching to see just how close knit and everything they are. And,
When you
you can
lose something so important, it really puts into perspective what the important things in life are. And your family, I know for me, is one of my most important things. So, yeah, I can only imagine how losing such a huge important part of your family just brings you closer to the family you still have. Like, you cling to them,
right.
like,
Yeah, totally get it. Everything. My family means everything to me. I got 3
mm-hmm.
kids. I got 6 grandbabies. They're my life. I live for the days that I get to spend with my family and my grandbabies. It's just, um, why don't I put up something more beautiful than listening to them? And
Yeah,
let's
there
look
we
at
go.
Michael's face for a minute. I just love that little boy's face. His blue eyes. Oh, absolutely beautiful, beautiful. That was Michael Vaughan. Came up missing on July 27th of 2021. He was abducted near his home. If you have any information about Michael Vaughan, his disappearance, or the 4 suspects in this case, whom are Stacey and Sarah Wondra, Adrian Lucian, and Brandon Shirtliff, who love to talk, tell this story to whoever will listen, whether they want to call themselves suspects or not, or, you know, whether they're just telling their stories. Maybe they got drunk, maybe they did some drugs, maybe they said something to you. Don't be scared to call that tip line. The telephone number is 208-642-6006, or you can email findmichael@fruitland.org. You can always call anonymously. You know, find somebody to go in to tell the tip if you're scared, but don't be scared. Law enforcement wants to work with you. They want to know what happened to Michael, and their family deserves justice. So if you know something and you're not saying something, then you're not giving this family peace, and that's what they need. They need the peace, and they need to be able to move forward. So please, please, if you know anything about Michael Vaughan's disappearance, where he is, please call that tip line at 208-642-6006. And if you can't remember that phone number, you can always call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. 1-800-THE-LOST is super easy. Please give that tip. No tip is too small.
Amen.
Brandy, if you're listening, Brandy Strong, let's throw up some blue hearts and some monkeys to show some support. We love you, Brand. I don't know why I called you that, but we love you, Brandy. We are here for you anytime you need us. Yes, Opal says, and happy birthday to Summer Wells today as well. Was that
Yes,
today or
happy
was that
birthday.
yesterday? Happy birthday, yeah.
February 4th, I believe it was. I don't know what day it is today, but if it's
Thank
still
you
February
guys.
4th.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Sorry about the hiccup that we had on StreamYard. It's been very difficult lately for many creators, so
Yes, thanks for joining back up with us again. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Another kind of last minute live that we didn't really announce ahead of time. So yeah, if you want to hang out with us more often on these lives, make sure to subscribe so you get notified when we go live.
Yep. All right. Well, I hope everybody has a great Monday morning. I hope your week starts out amazing. Yeah, we appreciate every single one of you, and we'll see you on the next live. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye.